Okay, there's no public here, so we're going to convene to the public. Minutes of January 22nd meeting. Are there any errors, omissions, comments?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, bills. Our son, are there any,
No additions or deletions.
okay.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence, yes, the clerk to read the correspondence.
We have two this evening. The first one is Dear Mayor Batha and Board of Trustees, please accept this letter as a letter of resignation from the Village of Rouses Point Planning Board, effective immediately. I can no longer hold this position as I've been sworn in as the Village Code Enforcement Officer. Thank you, John Cooper. And the next is, this was addressed to the Planning Board. It's I, Donald Glad, am resigning from the Planning Board. This will be my last meeting, and that was dated January 28th. So two
Okay.
resignations from the Planning Board.
We'll be discussing the planning board a little bit here. Anything else?
That's all.
Okay, first thing I have here is wastewater treatment plant operator certification class. Now, situation we have here is Jerry Pavetta is going to have his contact hours in by June, and he's scheduled to go to a 3-week course in June. The problem is, we have to sign him up now and pay for the whole thing in advance, and it's $2,075. So what I need is, I guess, motion from the board to approve this $2,075 for these basic operations, basic lab, and activated sludge classes that he has to take. I don't really understand why we have to pay it up front 5 months in advance, but Donna's been talking to the people there, and that's what we have to do, right? So it's not in this fiscal year budget, but it would have been the next fiscal year's budget, but
When's
anyways.
he going to school?
June 1st or something, or June,
No, the budget is just about.
well, the budget takes effect June 1st.
Right, yeah.
But we didn't think he was going, we
They're gonna
didn't think
pay
we'd
it
be
now.
paying for it this
Right,
year.
yeah.
And in fact, I don't even know, he wasn't even in the sewer plant when we were doing the budget last year,
Right.
so.
Do you have the money for it or something? I make a motion that we pay for his classes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Now, the next thing I have here is, let's see. I have, planning board. I just want to do some general discussions. I don't really want to take action tonight with it, but the planning board's down to 3 members. The zoning board has its full staff of 5. We're required by law to have a zoning board. We're not required to have a planning board. I want to talk to the people first before we make any decisions or anything. I want to go speak with them about it. But I think instead of like eliminating the planning board, I think we should merge the two. Like put the planning in the zoning board so that when people come here and they want to start a business up, they go to one place and get all their answers and permits and what they have to do. Instead of going one place and then you might not hit the meeting for the other one for a month, and the next thing you know, you've lost 2 months or so before you even get off the ground.
We brought that up before, didn't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, well, I think now, and then plus the other thing is, we'll have to change the village code to do it and everything, but I want to make sure the people are on board with it first that are in there,
Right,
because
right.
they're all volunteers. And I want to get their input, but I'm thinking they could either have some of their members specialize in planning board stuff, there's no reason to have them all
Right.
certified and up to date on planning, or they could have a couple of them become alternates if they don't want to, of the 8 of them that would be there, they could have a couple alternates if they decided to, or whatever they want. That's what I want to talk to them about first. So I would say at the next meeting, hopefully I'll have a chance to talk to them by then, and relay what their concerns are back to the board. But anyway.
Could you up the number of members on the zoning board?
Well, yeah, but they'd have to change
So, I
their,
mean, just go from, say, 5 to 7 or something, or
Well, yeah, we can do that, but we can't just do it by
Right,
edict.
no,
We have to, I think we have to change the code
that's
for
what I'm
that.
saying,
Yeah.
talk to these people and they, you know.
Yeah, in
they
other words-
Still wanna be on the.
In other words, I don't wanna throw anybody off.
Right.
You know, that's not my intention.
Right,
You know, and there's a lot of knowledge there too. I mean, some of those people on that planning board, you have to have 4 hours of training every year. And they've been doing it for 10, 12 years, some of them. So, anyway.
sounds like a good idea.
Okay, electric rate study we talked about a couple meetings ago. Apparently, the auditors haven't come yet. They were supposed to come last week. Arsen, what's the update on that?
They are scheduled to come February 26th and 7th.
So they moved it a month? Well, I would suggest we postpone this till March. A decision on whether we're gonna go with the rate study or not, because they'll have the most up-to-date numbers when they do the audit, because the audit's for 2018. So, okay, I asked the clerk to put that on in, a month or so,
Sure.
okay? Water treatment operations certification class, okay? Let's see. There's something on that. Oh. Anyway, we have Zachary's coming up on his contact hours in water plant. His class is, it's a correspondence class. He doesn't have to go away. There's no per diem or anything like that involved. So, I don't know, we don't even need any action on that, do we?
I believe it's in the budget.
It's still in the budget.
Yeah,
We do?
it's in the budget.
Yeah, it's in the budget, so I'm just alerting everybody that we will soon have another certified operator in the water plant, which is good. I'd like to request an executive session to discuss employment history of a particular employee.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then I have a final, well, I have a couple other things here. I have an amended resolution. Last meeting, we did the election board of inspectors, and we need to add one more person to that. Nancy Baker's gonna be an alternate. So, I'll read this over again. Whereas pursuant to Article 15, New York State election law, the Board of Trustees, Village of Rouses Point is charged with adopting a resolution appointing inspectors of election. Therefore, the Board of Trustees, Rouses Point, does hereby resolve that the inspectors of election will be amended to include Nancy Baker, alternate. And the compensation is fixed at $12.10 an hour. I move that to the floor.
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have the request for proposals for the water plant filtration study. We just finished it up late this afternoon, so nobody's really had a chance to read it. What this is we're gonna advertise in various places for companies to come to us and say, we're gonna look at your proposal and make recommendations of what you should do. It's all included in the proposal here. Specifically, recommendations for the location of a water plant, minimum of 3 different options for water filtration processes, pros and cons for each, and there's more elaboration there. Identifying funding opportunities, and review and provide recommendations for specific technical organizational issues needed to move forward with the process. So, I guess what I'd like everyone to do is take this home and read it over, and we don't need it, we're not spending any money on this. This is just to go to advertise this proposal to get people to come in. Once they come in, then of course we have to vote on which one we're gonna pick. So what I would like to do is everybody take the time to read this over, and then you call back Donna or Steve and tell them if you have any comments or adjustments you want to make with it. And we'll try to do it like over the phone, just to give the go-ahead to advertise for it.
I just have a question on the financing of this. You said we're not incurring any cost to do this?
Not this stage right here. This stage will be, come to us with, if you want to bid on this, and they come with their ideas of what this is, and then we pick one of them, and then that's when the money is. This is just to advertise.
For instance, how would a company recoup its costs if, for instance, one of the options is connecting to the Champlain water system? How would this company recoup any money if they spent all this time researching this and, you know?
Well, no, we're getting ahead here. Okay, let me see if I can say this different. The issue with this proposal is this a proposal that we want to advertise to seek people to?
Engineering.
Engineering.
No, not engineering, just to look at the study and give us like an outline of what we need to do to take the next step, which is to pick what's in this outline.
Oh, okay.
So, in other words, we're gonna pick somebody, and we're gonna spend less than $40,000 on their study. They're gonna get paid for the study to recommend, hook onto this, don't hook onto that, drill a well, whatever they're gonna do. They're gonna get their money, they're gonna bid on it, and they're gonna get their money for doing this study. That's all this is, a study with recommendations.
So we're gonna pay for the study.
We're gonna pay for the study, but not voting this. After this comes in, then we vote for the
We're gonna
rest.
see who wants to do
Right.
the study.
See where the location.
In other words, it's like if we were bidding for a dump truck and we wanted to, or something complicated, we needed somebody to draw the specifications up because we couldn't. This is what we're asking, is draw up the specs and then we'll see if we're gonna, buy it. And the money, so when we get to that stage, this is just, all this is to advertise. When we get to the stage of picking one of them, the money will come out of the residue grant money from the water plant, which we already have.
Okay.
So it's just, if you have any changes or anything you want to put on here, I didn't want to just spring it on you tonight because it's 6 pages if you want to read it. But I think we can also do it telephonically, just if you have any adjustments or anything, we'll talk about it. If anybody has a severe adjustment, then I guess we'll have to have a meeting. Anyways, so that's what that's about. Oh, here's what I had. Just, I was talking about Zachary's thing. It's his course that he has to take is $275. That correspondence course, that's all that is. Okay, that's all I have for right now. Trustee Arno?
I have nothing at the moment.
Okay, Trustee Dart?
One item tonight, I wasn't aware that the RFP, the request for proposals was coming tonight. So my invitation of the mayor of Champlain Village, Greg Martin, I'd like to review the water system blueprints, the surveys, the findings, and the final reviews done by Barton and Lejudas engineering firm that included the village of Rouses Point in the report as part of their study. I believe this would be a prudent action before we launch into our own new water plant, and I think it's probably going to be, now that we're seeing things here, I think it's going to be a prerequisite anyways, that we do look at it, and I'm willing to entertain the idea of going through this very lengthy study, coming up with some kind of conclusion in conjunction with somebody else on the board.
Well, see, that's fine, but I think that's what we're asking these people to do.
Yeah.
And we're required to do that too. We're required to look at all the different options.
Yeah.
But this already been done, right, at the time that they put the.
Yeah, and that's what this company will do. Whoever we select, well, that'll be one of the things they review, is they'll be looking at that
Right,
stuff.
but we could pre-look at the information that
Well, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Let's do
I mean,
that.
that's-
I just want to be able to tell those guys, or even when applying for grant money, yeah, we do look at the,
Yeah.
the study that was done by Barton.
We'll be doing
At one
that.
time, we had quite a bit of money involved in that study, and I believe 3 or 4 years ago, we shut that off, shut that money off from those guys.
But if we get a copy of that, of the final output, I'd like to read that.
Yeah.
We must have a copy of it. It was before our time, we weren't on the board then.
Yeah.
They must have it somewhere.
Village Champlain must have it,
What's
right?
that?
We were on the board.
Yeah,
Were you?
Yeah.
Was it that recent?
yeah,
I didn't know
3
that.
years
I
ago.
just
4 years
finished.
ago.
yeah. They
When
started
we
the
first
study,
got on the board.
they started the study back in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was a long time ago, but
Mhm.
But anyways, that's one of the things that we mandated in this proposal here, is that they do have to look at that.
I just wanted to give you a heads up, that I think it was, you know, it's a proven idea that we do it.
Yeah.
I'm willing to look it over. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, trustee Menard,
I have nothing further, Susan.
and trustee LeBlanc.
I have an agenda of a few items I'd like to discuss. One is, I'll start with, I may not do it, well, will be number one, and that's the demolition work being done at the ex-Pfizer property. As you know, that's in full swing. I've observed it many times. I know that the previous demolition of Chem Pilot was done in a very professional manner, based on reviews I've done. This demolition is certainly, let's say, less than professional, in my opinion. But in any case, I am worried about what is happening to air, water, and land quality at that site. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence over the years of serious illnesses, and God knows what else in the village, possibly based on that property. What I want to do is to find out what is happening today and what the state of that property will be when the demolition is finished. So I'm gonna make a motion, and I want to get this on record. This is an environmental study that I want done to find out where we are, and everybody in the village knows the risk, if any, or if we're gonna clean bill of health, but we have to know, in my opinion. So I'm gonna make a motion to authorize the hiring of an independent environmental monitoring firm to provide a complete inspection and environmental impact statement of the Pfizer property during and after all demolition work is completed, and provide the village with a written summary report. The village, Rouses Point, will instruct the village attorney to engage the appropriate state and/or federal agencies in assisting with a complete environmental review of the Pfizer property. This motion needs to be carried out within 30 days. So we're all gonna take a vote, because I wanna know where everybody stands on this. To me, this is number one priority for me, for the health and well-being of the residents of this village.
Do we know if Pfizer has done that?
I'd say I've never seen anything from Pfizer. And
Has
I tell you, I would
anybody
not, you know, I represent the village, not Pfizer, so.
No, I mean, like when they tore down, well, can we have a discussion?
Okay, here's how we'll do this. We have a motion, we'll have a second for discussion.
Second.
Okay, now we're discussing. Okay. Now, there's a regulatory agency that's tasked with doing that, and that's the state, the DEC and the health department. That's their job. We have a code enforcement officer here that could maybe fill us in on that. I'm sure that they had to get permits to do all that.
I believe that both the things submitted to us from the company has all of that in there. I didn't, Mickey and I took a look at it, but we didn't research through it. The only thing that, with the code enforcement in the village here, is they showed us all the certificates where all the asbestos abatement had been taken care of. As far as I personally, I think that the trustee LeBlanc here has a great idea. I think we should get somebody in here. My biggest fear with this is when they fold up and leave, we're gonna look all that underground we got here, and all these things in people's houses, all those test holes and everything. Haven't been involved with this in town, and we're still paying for the landfill when Harris moved out, and of course, Harris, well, there's only a couple of names just like Harris, but, and the town residents are still paying to test that landfill up there. And if these people were here just last year testing all these holes again, I don't know, but I personally think that we should have somebody here that has the knowledge, the expertise, and whatever else it takes to do this job. I think Mr. LeBlanc is on the right track here.
Now, are they gonna, will they let the people go on the property? Like if we hire a firm or whatever, or if the DEC or the whoever, Board of Health or whatever, are they gonna let them on the property when they're doing under construction?
Well, all regulatory agencies have absolute right to do what they need to do, that's for sure.
I just don't want to be doing this twice. I mean, is there any way, okay, our code enforcement officer, there's people up there, can we go and ask if the DEC is involved in this? And I mean, before we go and spend money on our own.
Well, why can't we talk to John Nichols and see what they did with building
Well,
1000?
that's what I'm saying, let the code enforcement officer go up speak with whoever's in charge up there.
Yes,
John
you have to
Nichols.
have some kind of a degree to understand what's actually going on up there.
Right, but all you need to do is ask, is the DEC, the
Involved.
environmental regulations, are they involved
And it's
in,
not a problem, I'll get a sheet and we'll go up there, and if that's so, we'll get Mr. Nichols to sign it. Yes, some people are coming in, I personally think this really should be done.
You got federal EPA.
right,
involved,
I'm
too.
just saying, if they're already doing it, why do we need to spend money? I mean,
Because
I agree, it's a great thing, and it should be
I
done, but
believe-
if they're already doing it,
I believe I've seen nothing. I think the village will be notified if Jack or the EPA was involved in any way. At this point, I believe that nothing is being monitored.
At least somebody up there probably once a week goes on the property and looks around or something, or once a month or something, or,
I've seen nobody.
Ask the administrator,
yeah.
have you called Raybrook on this, or?
Yeah, I got information from John Nichols about who the DEC contact is. I've sent him basically these questions, because it was brought up before. I'm awaiting their response from DEC. The former site director for Pfizer had indicated at the last query that we brought up, indicated that the library here has all that information in it as is. So it might be worth looking at that as well. He
The
said-
library has it?
That's what he said.
The village library?
Yes.
Why would they have it?
They're not the government of the village of Rouse's Point. That sounds
That doesn't make
pretty
any
strange
sense.
to me. Yeah.
I believe it was for the idea that it would be stored there or made available to the public for anybody that wanted to go look at that information. I think
They might have done that.
that's
I can
the
see that.
intention, not to do anything else. That's what I,
And
as
whose study was this, Pfizer's?
far as I know, I have not looked at
I
it.
mean, that's like,
So it
you
might be
know,
worth
Dracula's
looking
in charge of the
for.
blood bank. I mean, I want an independent review. I want to know what's up there. I think a lot of people do want to know what's up there, and what's going on, and what's in the air, and what's in the land. That's what I say. So I want to vote on this. I want everybody that's looking at camera and say, no, I don't want it under review, or yes, I will take an environmental review. And we're going to pay for it, because to me, all the village expenses, this is the most
How
important.
much is this gonna cost?
I don't care.
No, you have to care.
No, I don't.
You have to, by law, have to care. You
You
can't make open-ended financial commitments without knowing how much they are. You have to know that.
And go and, the motion says, get a company, they'll put in their.
You can't do that legally, Ron. You have to get estimates and quotes and stuff like that
Then
before
get
you
it
can
done.
do that.
The motion is get it done. It's not to talk about it, it's to get it done.
this is gonna cost the taxpayers,
This could be $100,000.
$600,000-700,000, who the hell knows, a private individual, you know, I don't know.
We all, as a board, will agree what we take. It can't be that much money to do environmental review.
Well, let's have Mr. Cooper look at this, let's table this till next week, or the next board meeting. Can we do that?
I think we ought to find
We
out.
need to find quotes.
We need to find out what's being done by the government authorities that are responsible for doing this. You've got federal and state agencies and county agencies that's what their job is to do this stuff. And we gotta find out if they're doing it. If they're doing it, what we would do would just be, wouldn't be anything.
We'd be wasting money.
We'd be wasting a lot of money, and it could be,
Still gotta make sure that we keep the, village residents.
Yes, I agree.
And know-
Everybody
and I
agrees
wanna-
with that.
Everybody agrees with that.
I agree with that.
I live probably just as close, if not closer than anybody else here, and yes, I wanna see it all done by regulations also. But we don't wanna spend $100,000 on a study that they're already doing.
I know that they indicated that they were gonna start drilling wells, I think, north of the plant, to see if anything migrated that way, because in the past, apparently, it went east from the plant down to the lake, and that's what all those houses have, the
Air monitor.
the air monitors or whatever they are. But they wanna make sure they're doing test drillings all around it to make sure it didn't go any other directions, in the water table or whatever it is. Now, I don't know who mandated them to do that. We should probably have better contact with the state on this.
Yeah, we definitely, I mean, I agree with Ron, we need to have
We need to know. what they're doing.
whoever's in charge up there, keep us informed or inform us on what's being done, so that if it's not being done, we can do it.
Well, here, but I don't want anybody from there, and it's a Pfizer ERS operation. I want somebody in it. I want the state.
Okay, yes, that's what I'm
That's what
saying.
we're talking
The
about.
state,
That's
what we're
exactly what we're
about.
talking about. DEC is the
They
state.
need to keep us informed also, not just Pfizer.
I don't know, is that a Superfund site? We don't even know that. I don't think it is.
Well, Mr. Pelkey, isn't there a guy that comes around and tests them wells on Maple Street and this and that, and once or
Yes.
twice a year?
Yes,
They're monitoring all those.
from
And who is
Connecticut.
that? Is
He's
that-
from Connecticut. I have his name, his card in my office, but he
It's
calls.
not DEC or?
No, he calls and lets me know when he's coming because he blocks the road off and they're working in our right of ways.
Right.
So that he never gives you a report on the,
They're working for Pfizer. That's who they're working for.
Thank you.
they're working for Pfizer, not ERS.
Well, either way.
Well, probably quite a bit of difference there. You know, because this has been going on for the last, what, 5 years?
No,
Oh, yeah.
20 years.
Many years.
Good 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we need more information before we,
Jump into spending big
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
I mean, look into what it would cost for us to get in somebody up there. I mean, and in the meantime,
See what's being done.
John can go up and talk with whoever's in charge. Steve can, check with the DEC from Braybrook again.
I'd like to know who their contacts are, that they have contacts with the DEC and with the EPA.
Yeah,
To see if
Yeah.
they- Just see if they have any.
We need to know this.
yes,
We need
that's
to
what I'm
know
saying,
that.
we need to
know
keep.
anyway.
So Steve says, Steve's already contacted Braybrook on this, he should have an answer
Yeah, I would
in a
expect
short
in the
time
next few
to
days.
get back before the next meeting, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Well, didn't our village lawyer tell us that he would take and advise us on?
Maybe you could give Tom Renane a call too,
Yeah.
and see if he's.
Didn't he tell us that night
Yes.
at the meeting here?
Yes.
He said he would look into it.
Yeah.
They said you could look into it. We'd have to give them the go-ahead to do that.
I thought we did.
No, I believe we
I thought we
just,
did
he
too.
just said he was available to do that work, and authorize it.
Well,
So if you need a motion to authorize that, I'll do that.
whatever, I mean, we can have him look into it, or, I mean, I don't think we need a motion to.
You have a motion and a second on the table right now. So,
Then you,
So-
we table that for 2 weeks?
Right. Yeah, I'd like to table it for 2 weeks until we find out a little bit of study here.
Yes, a
All
little
right.
more information.
We'll table that.
thank you.
We'll need information. In the meantime, you can start getting some prices for it too. If we go that route.
Yeah. And call Mr. Renane and see if he's contacted anybody, or,
Or what we should do. I mean, if we're gonna engage the village attorney, I want to get concrete action. What is the next step, what do we have to do as a village?
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. I go for that, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, have him look into finding if there is a, whatever,
Yeah. Solution or whatever, or
Yeah.
however it goes. yeah.
they're doing it, or
Yeah.
we need to do it.
We will do that. Thank you for that. And next is as you know, ERS has cleaned up the building and has given the village truckloads of stuff. Racks and chairs, whatever. Lots of leftover stuff. In my opinion, the village of Rouses Point is in direct negotiations, possible future negotiations for development of that property, and yet we're taking stuff free of charge from them. This is an obvious conflict of interest and possibly a lot more. So, what I want to do, what I think should be done is this, all this stuff should be returned to ERS, and we purchase for them at fair market value to make this a clean break. Because to me, there are a lot of names for what's going on or could happen here, and I'm not going to be involved in this. So, because I don't care what happens, but I'm going to make sure my name is clear in this, because I've seen trustees and town supervisors go to jail for similar type of scenarios. I'm not going to be involved. I want it on record that I'm not involved. So I'm going to make a motion to return all physical assets donated to the village by ERS, or to pay ERS the actual cash value of the donated items. That's my motion. I want a second, I want to vote, because I don't care if nothing happens. But I'm going to say that I'm not going to prison over this. So, that's my motion. Can I get a second?
I'm gonna second that because taking items from Pfizer to me was a little more acceptable because they were on their way out. ERS, we are going to have to do business with in the future. I don't like the looks of us accepting stuff from them. Whether it be market value, we pay them, or we pay them a lesser sum of money of that. I think some action needs to be taken so that we're not seen accepting something from somebody who's going to do future business with. So that's my second.
Now we have a motion and a second discussion.
What about, I know Miners Institute is up there today.
Everybody's up there because they're gonna tear those buildings down, they're emptying out the stuff that's gonna be scrapped, and they're donating it to all the nonprofit and municipals and schools, and anybody else that can use it, they're giving it to them.
Mine is not going to do future business with them.
Well, we probably won't either, we're not doing business with them now, all we're doing is
We
we're
already have communication from them. Don't try, you can't cover this up. We're in.
covering anything up.
They came to us, they wanted to develop that property with the Village of Rouses Point. They need us, we need them. It's a business relationship, or it's a governmental business
I don't
relationship.
think it is.
Power and water.
Well, I'll let somebody else determine that. But I want to go on record to say I'm opposed to this, I'm not involved with this, and, you know, to make sure my record is clean down the road. I'm not involved, so.
You don't have to be involved, but village law from the state is clear that we're allowed to accept gifts from anybody like that. We're clearly covered on that.
You may think you're covered.
I'm saying what the law says, I'm just reading out of the law book. And we've got a letter from them offering it to us, it says, ERS Investors is pleased to offer to donate to the Village of Rouses, the village, any items that you may find useful to the village. This would include conference tables, chairs, desks, shelving, and any other items you may deem suitable for your needs. ERS thanks you for your continued support. So we are not stealing anything, we've been donating it. It's items that they're gonna throw out anyway, and the municipal code says we're allowed to accept gifts.
This is quid pro quo. It's a classic example. Look it up under the Controller's Code of the state of New York. And also, just from a business standpoint, we spent over $5,000 in labor to get all this junk.
No, we didn't spend anything in labor,
Did you use village employees? How many man hours?
probably
I counted them
about
up.
3
It was
days.
over $5,000.
No, it wasn't
direct labor.
$5,000, that's just baloney,
Oh, yeah.
that's just complete baloney.
So we have a second motion.
Okay, a motion and a second to pay for all this stuff that we got for free. Roll call vote, trustee Arnold,
No.
trustee Menard,
No.
trustee Dart,
Yes.
trustee LeBlanc,
Yes.
mayor votes no. Okay, what's your next thing?
As you know, the village has bonded millions of dollars in improvements for that Pfizer property. We're still paying on that. It's my opinion, we're not gonna give away any of those future improvements, infrastructure improvements that we made, just because somebody wants to use that property. I think the taxpayers want that money back, that's my position. So I'm gonna make a motion to create a committee to determine the village policy as best to recover all applicable expenses involved in past village bonding and other financial support made specifically for Pfizer development. The committee is expected to develop and present a policy proposal within 120 days.
What are you asking?
So we're on the hook for millions of dollars in bonding for that property. If there's future development on that particular piece of property, I think the village needs to recover as much as we can as those expenses we made. We can't just give it away to one developer and not say to the other developer down the other end of town, no, you're gonna pay for all your infrastructure. To me, that's unethical and probably borderline illegal.
In other words, you're talking about the water tower and the substation and the sewer plant, right? Basically.
Every piece of infrastructure we made to keep Pfizer in business.
Okay, so we did that over the years. I think it was Wyeth is when that stuff was put in. it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so they pull out and they leave. And they gave the village about, I don't know, about $800,000 or $900,000, I think, in extra payments. But, so they're gone. So you're saying that somebody comes in and develops that lot and says, I need village water, and village electric and village sewer, that you're gonna charge them for it? Because you think you're giving it to them for free? Because they're gonna be buying those services. They're gonna be paying for the water, paying for the sewer, and paying for the electricity. They're gonna be customers like everybody else in the village. The same as anybody that comes in the village with a new business or a new company.
Then how come other developers in town don't get the same deal?
Who? Everybody does.
Okay, well, let's bring it, we'll bring in somebody else and ask them, because I know other developers have asked.
Well, give me an example so I know what you're talking about.
Pot property,
The pond property's got village water, sewer, and electric
but
out
they need
there.
a new substation.
Well, then they'd have to have a sub-district.
Study,
They
they
knew
have to
that.
have a study on how much power they're gonna use.
Who
Stuff like that.
would pay for the substation?
Well, they would, they're
Well,
asking for it.
The mayor just says it's free up there for the Pfizer.
Because it's already in existence, because they located their plant
I know.
next to our existing
Guess
substation.
what?
We
Who
developed
pays for
out
that
there.
plant? It's the taxpayers of Rouses Point that pay for that plant. I think they want the money back, because right now they get zero job for all the promises. So guess what? I'm gonna oppose anybody getting a free ride. Now, I think we just need to negotiate and say what's fair for everybody, because we all want a good outcome. But to me, just giving it away for free,
I think you're mistaken, Roman. I think Pfizer paid for their fair share and then some, when they were here.
They paid half the electric bill, half the sewer bill, and half the water bill.
and they use that.
Right, that's the way it was predicated for everybody in the village.
I'd like to see us to be able to recoup some of the money that's left. The fires are left, there was no exit plan as we're aware of. There's 2.7 million left between the two loans.
Where are we gonna get it from?
None of us were on the board when that was done.
The thing is, we gotta fix the problem now.
I don't think you can.
Well, sure you can, sure you can.
You just go send them a bill.
That's it, it's a policy, if you want infrastructure, this is the rate structure for it, like everybody else, everybody's strict.
You have a rate structure for everything.
Now, if you wanna put in a new substation, you have to pay for your own.
Yes, they have to pay for their own.
I agree, it should be the same with the Pfizer property.
It is. If somebody develops on the Pfizer property and they need a new transformer, they will pay for it.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Right.
Right, Brian?
Isn't that what they do? If somebody like.
If they put a new building up there and they need a transformer outside that building, do they pay for it?
More than
or do
what's
we pay
already
for it?
there.
Not more, not more was there, starting scratch.
Do they pay for it or what?
Pfizer is an industrial customer. They own their own equipment.
Oh, so they buy their own.
They buy their own transformers, yes. We supply them high voltage.
But like I said, like if hot property down here wanted to expand or something like that, and they needed another transformer, who pays for that? Not the village.
That's commercial, yes. The system, a service upgrade, it'd be the village, it'd be the customer's cost.
Customers' cost, right, not the village cost.
When the button factory came in, who paid for their?
That's industrial.
Right.
They bought their own transformer.
Right, that's what we're saying. Whoever develops on there is gonna pay for their own stuff. It's in our laws.
I mean, if they need water to their building, they have to put it in. The village ain't gonna put it in, right?
Correct.
Well, they'd go from the main in,
Right.
from the water main or the sewer main or whatever.
They'll go from the right of way where we
Right,
leave off the valve and
yeah.
they have to bring it in, yes.
I mean, I'm a little confused here. You're talking about one thing about getting money back from somebody that's gone, Pfizer.
No, I didn't say
I
that.
thought that's what you said, you want to recover, okay, then that's clear. Then the other thing is, you're saying you want new businesses coming in here to pay all kinds of extra money to hook onto something that's there.
Oh,
That's not good for economic development.
and be treated equally.
Everybody is treated.
Everybody
That's in
is.
our laws.
I mean, that,
We don't treat different people different.
I'll treat everybody the same, I think.
Yeah. That's in our laws. I mean.
Public service-
We can't
Public
say,
utilities is all-
because I like you, we're gonna give you a transformer.
Well, basically, we did, when we bonded all the infrastructure, we basically said it was all for Pfizer, it wasn't for anybody else.
No, it wasn't, no. We had an old water tower. I was on the board when we built that. And we did build it for Pfizer. we upgraded it, we were gonna put a 500,000 gallon tank in there, but because they were using so much water, we couldn't have contact hours. So we built a 1 million gallon tank, Brian, am I?
$1.5 million.
Million and a half.
1.5 million gallon tank, so we could have the chlorine contact hours. Because that tank wasn't cutting it. We were out of compliance with the state, so we built a 1.5 million gallon water tank so that we could get in compliance. We didn't build that tank for Pfizer. I can tell you that right now. We built that tank because Pfizer was using so much water, but that's not, we didn't build it for Pfizer.
No, they were
We
paying
built
for
it
water,
for
too.
the village, so that we could stay in compliance. You understand?
I think you're.
We didn't build it for
You're
Pfizer.
just parsing words. If Pfizer wasn't there and didn't expand, we wouldn't have built that tank. We would have
Yes.
had a much cheaper option.
We would have built a smaller tank,
Okay.
Because
but
we
you
wouldn't
can't
have the
say that.
usage.
So I mean, that's like saying, well, if we didn't hook up your house, then we'd have more water for the rest. I mean, you hooked up your house, they hooked up to our water tower, they were already hooked up. We weren't meeting contacts hours, and at the time, I don't know what you would have done wrong, but I voted for it because we weren't making contact hours. So we voted for a 1.5 million gallon tank, so that we could be compliant, because they were using so much water.
And the problem is that they left. Nobody could
Yes.
foresee that. But they were paying their.
Hindsight's 20/20, I mean, yes.
But they were paying, when the bond payments came due every year, they were paying the percentage that they used, which was our son about 50%?
I think it was a little higher than that, actually.
Yeah.
They were paying based on the usage. They were using a little over 50%
65%.
of the water, and they were paying a little over 50% of the bond payments for 18
I have
years.
no problem with what the board did years ago. I'd be fully in favor of what everybody did the right thing, I would have done the same thing. I'm just saying, from this point on, everybody's gonna pay exactly the same. That Pfizer property's not gonna get a break that another developer can't get.
Nobody here is disagreeing with me. We have laws, we can't.
Well, sure,
Yes.
you can make industrial districts and people get, and developers get favorable treatment. That happens
It's
all
all
the time.
industrial, that's all industrial up there. Pfizer was industrial, they get an industrial rate. So if somebody's big enough to use that much water and sewer, then they'll get an industrial rate also. We have bylaws that,
Yeah, I'm not talking about usage, that's fine, whatever you use it, it's just infrastructure development.
yeah,
I would say if we had to build something new to accommodate them, you'd have a point. You know, if we had to add an extra, whatever, an extra transformer, an extra water tower or something, yes, Brian.
I think that's what trustee LeBlanc was getting at, is if there was a water line put into there and several taps off it, maybe that's, you would look at a development.
But it's all metered, right?
Right, but we're not responsible for putting a water line in there, so that would be their cost, definitely.
right.
But if they broke up the lots where they put a street down through the center and then they asked the village to put a water and sewer down through the center, we're not the developer that they are.
Right.
So they would have to comply.
Right.
Right. At their cost,
Right,
correct?
right,
Yes.
at their cost.
I think that's what trustee LeBlanc is trying to get at, that there be no additional cost for upgrades. Is that what you're saying?
If there's any new or existing paid-for infrastructure that's already been paid for by the taxpayers, that they would reuse, I think they should make a payment towards that. Whoever the developer is, the same as if you were a new developer on the other side of town and needed a new substation, pay for it, or at least have a general policy agreed to by the board, this is how we deal with our industrial customers, that's fair. As long as it's fair to everybody.
And we have that in our bylaws.
The village code that's what it says. And those, when we write a village code, I don't know if you guys have done this before or not. You done a village code revision? You must have done a couple. We write them up, or we say what we want. Our village attorney puts it into Legalist, and then it gets approved by the who's in the state that approves those?
We have to have a public hearing that it.
Well, all the public hearings, but it still has,
Department of
the
State.
Department of State in Albany says whether our law is legal or not. And then it goes into our village code book as a law, and that's why all these rates and zones and everything else is already in the law. You can amend it or change it if you want to, but it's, they consider it fair. It's non-discriminatory, that's for sure.
And I'm not positive, but I would think if we already have the water tower and whatever we have left on it, I don't believe you can make somebody else pay for it. I think that would be highly legal, so,
But if
I
they
don't know
can-
if that's what you're saying, is that if somebody comes in and moves in and puts say another button factory, you're gonna make them make payments towards our water tower? I don't think you can do that, it's not in our
Just
laws.
within their usage, they'd be paying.
No, he's saying that to pay on
The infrastructure.
You can't do that.
on the
To
tower,
change the village law.
and
to do
because we
that,
have,
they
what,
won't let you.
1.7 million left on the water tower. That, you can't do that.
Okay.
So where do we, I don't know.
You have a motion.
I'll withdraw the motion at this time.
Okay, what's your next item? Was that the bond payments, Ron?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a hold on my other motions, I'll take that off the agenda. I'm done.
You're done? Okay, I have something that was brought up at the last meeting. I'll hold this for now. Okay, other reports. Guess Administrator, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a note on the water treatment plant RFP. We've got the language fairly close to what it needs to be, so we don't miss anything. I've had it reviewed by a number of folks who live in that world. And there's a couple things in there that I would guess that you might consider on the surface to be a little, not quite what you want. Though it was explained to me that the Environmental Facilities Corporation is gonna ask for things like, you know, this study that you mentioned, like what would it cost to connect to the villages of Champlain's water supply, things like that. So originally when we set out, I just wanted to be clear that I don't think we were thinking about that, but as this evolved, that's something that we wanted to focus on. So that's been, that I just wanted to note that that's why that's in there, so that we don't have to go and do it again later. We make it part of the study, then we can meet our, more or less meet criteria for grants that would come in the future for the building and developing of whatever it is we need to build and develop for a water treatment plant. So that's what I have for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Our son?
Just to reiterate that I was just gonna report to the auditor to come on the 26th and 27th,
Okay.
so. Get your budget sheets in.
Yeah, get your budget sheets in. Code Enforcement Officer, you got anything else? We squeezed you pretty good tonight.
No, the only thing I was thinking of, it's not part of the code enforcement, but the gentleman mentioned sending someone to the school for the water plant, wastewater, whatever it is there. You know, having been a citizen in the village, it seems like every time we educate someone, it comes in the paper, there's a job somewhere else and we lose them. Is it possible to put in the wording, if the gentleman would like to go to school, and at the end of the school, he is indentured to the village for at least like 3 years or something? Would that be way out of line?
I think,
I don't think you can do that.
no, wait a minute, I think they have done that for like
We've done that.
police and electric, right?
Lineman before, yeah.
They did it with linemen for like 4 years, I think, Ben?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I know, I'd like to know if this schooling you're talking about, this is definitely a promotion for the gentleman in question. If he'd like to be promoted, he'd like to go to school. You know, if he got out of school on Thursday, and took a job in Champlain on Friday, he'd be kind of mad.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll ask the administrator to look into that,
Yeah.
and, because it's not till June anyway.
I understand what you're saying, but.
No, I understand what you're saying, it's a valid point.
Yeah, because,
It's
you
a
know,
very valid point.
You also have to deal with the
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's gonna be the trick.
Well, I don't know, I mean, if you're to they're gonna spend money to educate the man, and he's gonna, so he's open to leave tomorrow? Is that what we're saying?
Well, one guy left when he was in the electric department, they sent him to school and they made him pay back to school.
Now, I remember that, but did we have to go through all that?
Well, that's because that's part of the union contract, that's a union contract for electric.
Just electrical?
Electric, yes.
There's your problem.
Contract, eh?
Yeah, that's what gonna happen.
We can look into that, just see what it would take to put it in there.
Yeah. Okay. Good idea. Brian, you have anything?
Just we've been working on snow removal. There's a few water plant projects that are still ongoing. Still some sewer plant projects that we're addressing. We had some problems, which the board knows of. We're continuing to address those problems. The electric department, I've been working on their summer project scopes and costs. So I submitted the budget sheets to Trustee Arno for review, and you'll see some items in there that are part of the scope of the projects for the summer for the electric department.
Okay. Assuming we have an electric department.
Well, the work has to get done. So I'm going to be asking the board, once we get the scope of the project from our engineer, to go out to bid for 2 of the items.
Oh, this, you're talking substation.
One is the substation and one is a piece of switchgear for replacement on the corner of Chapman and Delaware.
Yeah,
And then we
okay,
would have
I know
that
what
one.
you're talking about now.
Then we would have that one repaired and put on the shelf as a
We
spare.
want one spare so we can rotate it. There's 9 of those, right?
Yes.
We want to have one spare so they can pull one out and send it off.
But that'll be, come budget talks, we'll be talking about them, and I can
Yeah,
explain a
that
little bit
just
more,
makes
but.
sense. And the
we're just-
transformer's got to be sooner than later.
Yes, that scope of that project, we're looking, I'm trying to set up a company to come in May 1st. So we're first on the list because there's gonna be some oil filtration and it's gotta be warm weather. And I don't wanna wait till summer, because when you
No.
wait for summer, then you're waiting for fall, and guess what? Another whole year goes by. This project, I would like to see done this year.
Okay,
Well, that's about it.
okay. I guess we'll need a motion to
Recess.
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 Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.